Okay, so Jackie, here we are at Ninth Street Park, 29 years later from when we started. Um, what do you remember about some of the early days of, you and Terry and getting hooked up with this band?
uh, well, the park's about 3 times the size it originally was,
Mm-hmm.
and the real early days it was full of glass, and junk, and drugs, and people stealing picnic tables and repainting them. We had a drug house right where we sit here that Terry has passed away, but Terry and I, the park board, the director of Park and Rec, we would meet them someplace and they start shaking their head. We do not have money to tear that drug house down. So anyway, it was a long project, but the neighborhood center finally got it tore down. So yeah, we've expanded a couple, 3 times, and it's great over here.
It is, yeah. It's so much fun to come over and see kids and families having fun. And, Jackie, you and Terry were really the first two people that brought a lot of the other neighbors along. We had a lot of great friends, that we made early on through the neighborhood center. What made you and Terry decide to, or tell us about when you and Terry first kind of started working together, even before the
Okay.
neighborhood center.
Okay, years ago, Terry and we met at a cookout, and one thing led to another, and Terry and I became good friends, and we helped start a neighborhood thing called Friends of Wilson Street, and we tried to raise money, and it was slow going, but anyway, we went through all this stuff in the middle 70s. Then in the 80s, when the gangs kind of came to Columbus, we started going to those meetings and working with city officials and different things to help get rid of the gang. And then I didn't see it. Terry did. He came by one day and he said, "There's something you need to go look at." And I said, "What are we going to look at?" And he said, "I don't know. It's in the paper. Something about this neighborhood association, something neighborhood center, something." So I'm not sure. So Terry and I went that night, and I don't know, there was something about it that I knew who the director was. I knew a little bit about him. So anyway, from that day on, I've been there ever since. It's been 29 years. So.
And we're glad. I tell you, the friendships we've made out of this have just been incredible. People that have made such a positive difference in the neighborhood. And, it's just been a fun journey. We've had. What are some of your memories that stick out, either here at the park? We have lots of memories at the park, or just in general,
Oh,
in those early days.
I think, we was talking about the drug house. Randy promised it'd go down. And that was one thing early on. When it went down, everybody like, yeah, this guy's for real, because I'm knocking the city, but they didn't touch this. The J.C.'s built this park, and it had carpet down, it had gravel. I mean, it had nothing, junk equipment. And when that house went down, more people started trusting Randy. But they've had cookouts over here with way over 100 people. I mean, some of the early things, it was actually funny that I was involved in the center on a committee to write the bylaws, and it was funny to see people. Some people get mad, some people wouldn't. You holler, walk out of the room, shake hands, like, no, just difference of opinion. So it was exciting. It was fun. So
It was, yeah. And I think about the days when I had our concessions trailer with Dennis and Debbie Christian.
Yes.
And, oh my gosh, the camaraderie that built out of that, and how many hours you and your wife Jerry and Terry and his wife Sandy and Dennis and Debbie, oh my gosh, the 6 of you together kept us laughing all the time. We worked so hard, but we had so much fun.
Yeah, there's always something. Either somebody would come up and say something funny, or somebody would do something while they was working and do something funny. So
yeah,
it was a riot.
It was always a lot of fun.
But yeah, I've met so many people and so many friends. I've been in this neighborhood since '64. So, and Terry had too, basically since 1970. And we knew a lot of people, so a lot of people knew who we were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that really gave the neighborhood center a jump. in a positive direction with neighbors because they trusted you guys. And for you to be willing to put your names on our organization was incredibly important to the development of everything that we do. I mean, when you think about that every year we provide over 10,000 points of service. I mean, you and Terry are a big reason for that because the two of you were the first two that said, you know what, we'll sign our names to this.
One thing though that did help too, and I know you didn't watch this thing earlier, Terry, his wife, and my wife was the other three, and those three have passed away. That's why I'm kind of the sole survivor of the original four. But when me and Terry were talking, and we went into a room, was writing the bylaws, and we said, we've had programs all of our life where the city comes in and tells you what you want, what you need. I said, that don't work in that neighborhood. If we're going to do something like this, we want control. So our bylaws for our neighborhood center says it will be 60% neighborhood driven, and that's the way we keep it. 60% of our boards is neighborhood people, so that an outsider can't come in and say, hey, we got majority, we're going to do this. No, the neighborhood people get to vote it in, and they control it.
That's exactly right. I think that's so important. It's the thing that I'm most proud of our organization. You know, we've done a lot of really great things, but it's because the neighbors have been in control the whole time. That's really important.
You know, we used to have to go search board members. We have people volunteer and want to be on the board now, so it's kind of came alive and doing great. So
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. It's been a great journey to all be together and do things.
And you know, the one nice thing, a lot of organizations we've grown, but we have no more staff. We started with Randy and Diane. We still have Randy and Diane. We never added a third or fourth or fifth like a lot of organizations. And four is helping people. That's grown, but we've never grown in staff. So.
Well, and our volunteers are a big reason for that. And
yes,
you know, people like you and our board members and neighbors who give of their time have been the reason that's been able to happen, which is fun as well.
You know, remember things we did. For years we had a float that we put in all the parades and stuff. That was an absolute riot. I tell you what, we had an old farm wagon we fixed up with like city downtown buildings on it. We must have been in 10 or 15 parades.
Oh yeah.
One year Christmas parade, we left Mill Race. It was fine. By the time we got on Washington Street, it was pouring the snow. By the time the parade was over, we had about 2 inches of snow on the ground. So.
Do you remember? I don't remember if it was that Christmas parade or a different one. And we were working with our friends at Kids Commons, and one of the kids got stuck, like frozen to the float. And we had to pour warm water around her to even pry her off of the float afterwards.
Yes.
Because it was so cold.
Yeah.
That night, and then we had the summer one. You know, we did that summer parade too.
From East.
Oh my gosh, and we nearly melted. So we only did parades at the extremes when it was super hot or super cold.
Right. It
seemed like, but that was really fun and a great way for us to build camaraderie.
Yeah, people saw it. They want to know what's going on. It's interesting. You know, they found a pipe bomb at the courthouse one time. And on our float, we had a little building like the courthouse. In the parade, we even wrapped hazardous tape around it.
I forgot that. That was so funny.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah. And it's making me sit here and think about, some of our partners through the years. And, here we sit at the park and Parks and Rec. Man, I don't know what we would have done without Parks and Rec. And, Chuck Wilt's leadership and vision to see, what we could do together and how we could be better together. And, we got to go and present at that National Parks Conference, which was really fun for us all to get to go and do that. And but I tell you, those people at the Parks Department have just been tremendous to work with for all these years, and we're so lucky. Yeah,
they cover about anything we need. I mean,
they do.
We need them. They say, yeah, we're your partner. Come on. So.
Yeah, that's been great. That's been great.
And the city, everybody's been really great. So.
Yeah. What do you? Closing thoughts here about the park. What would you say? Some of your favorite things about the park?
Thank goodness for people early on had the vision. That a guy that worked for Park was trying to tell me I didn't understand. That's like this. We have cement down and we have rubber padding on top of it. Used to have wood chips. They were awful. So I think the people in front of me, the good work they did, the thinking, the planning, and even the city, their vision of what needed to come, and then let the people take it over and control it. Those are some of my favorite memories because, you know, we used to joke, we go down there and nobody told us no. When we had an ideal, they'd say, well, look at it, you know.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, and I think too, in remembering, and Diane will remember this, this is a poor neighborhood. A lot of people did not do for themselves, and I know that this is old news, but some people down here on the street had sewer issues, and I don't know who they talked to in the city. They told them it was going to cost them $2,000, and it was city sewer. You remember that? And we went down to City Hall, Diane and Randy did with them, and said, no, that's our responsibility. And they fixed it free. And those people bought right in. It's like, hey, this is what we want. We need to be part of this. So.
Yeah, that neighborhood empowerment has
Right.
been key. So.
But no, I think it's great. I feel like anything I volunteered for, I've been paid back at least 10 times, and I enjoy being involved in it.
Well, we're grateful for you, Jackie, that's for sure. You're one of my best friends in the whole world, and I thank the Neighborhood Center for that.